Everybody, we are live from Toronto, Canada. I want to begin by giving a big shout out to Project Inspire for doing all the incredible work that they do. And of course, hang on a second, gotta close this up here. Project Inspire, and of course to Yossi Friedman, to Chaim Samson, and to Simcha Barnett, to all the awesome people at Project Inspire, Stuart Heitman, to everybody. You guys are all awesome, and for the incredible work that you do. Special thank you to Torah Anytime, who is live streaming this tonight. I believe it's on Yeshiva World, Matzav. Special thank you to Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. Anyway, thank you to everybody for live streaming this tonight. Hopefully this will get us in the mindset of Shavuos just a little bit more, and I think tonight's topic, I actually don't remember exactly what the topic is, but the basic idea is the importance of Torah. And that is what tonight is all about. And it's very apropos given that we're about a week away from Shavuos. So I want you, if you could imagine for a second, it is the greatest moment in the history of the universe. It's Ma'amad Har Sinai. The moment when the Jewish people, all 3 million of us, are standing around Har Sinai, standing around Mount Sinai, and Hashem is giving the Torah to us. Greatest moment in Jewish history. Now, if you could know what the conversation was up in Shemayim, up in heaven, at the time that the Jewish people are getting the Torah, would you want to know? I would. In fact, I did. That's why I looked it up. So we're very fortunate. The Medrash and the Gemara tells us exactly what was the conversation going up in heaven. What was the conversation going on? So listen to this. I'm going to read it to you. What was happening? The conversation between Hashem, between the Almighty and the angels at the time of the Jewish people receiving the Torah. There's a lot written on this. This is not the only piece, but listen to this. Moshe Allah Ela Elokim. And Moshe goes up to Hashem, goes up to God. Ba'osa Shah at that time, Bikshu Malachei Hasharis Lefgoa b'Moshe. The Malachei Hasharis, the ministering angels, they want to pound him. They're like, let's go, get him, boys, right? All the angels they want to pounce on Moshe. Asabo Kadosh Baruch Hu. So what does Hashem do? Asabo klastrin shapanav shemoshe dom elavram. Hashem says, whoa, hold on a second. Whoa, wait. Maybe he didn't say wait. Maybe he didn't do that with his hands. But Hashem said, hold on a second. And he turns Moshe's face into the face of Avraham. All of a sudden, Moshe looks like Avraham. Amar Lam HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then Hashem, the Almighty, says to the angels, aren't you embarrassed? Come on, look at his face. Yeah, you know that face. That's Avram's face. Aren't you embarrassed? Isn't this the guy whose house you went to and you ate in his house? And then it goes on to say, I'll skip a little bit. Also, and then Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Moshe. Then Hashem says to Moshe, Lo nitna lecha Torah ela b'schus Avraham. The reason you're getting the Torah is in the merit of Avraham. What is this all about? The first thing that I was bothered by was, okay, hold on, just to recap for a second. Just to recap, okay? The Jewish people are standing at Har Sinai. We're about to get the Torah, and all of a sudden, Moshe goes up, and the angels go, whoa, what's going on? Why is he getting the Torah? And Hashem says, hold on a second. What? Right? He's trying to protect Moshe. And he turns Moshe's face to Avram's face, and the angels back off. What is that? What was that dialogue? What was that conversation? What's the Medrash trying to teach us? What's this whole thing all about? So, the first thing that I was bothered by was, what do the Malachim care? What do the Malachim care? Who care? What does it make a difference to them? What's their issue with us getting the Torah? Why do they have something against us getting the Torah? What was the issue? So I believe, Pashat Pshat, the simple explanation is that the Malachim look at the Torah. Torah is Ruchni. It's a spiritual book. It's a holy book. He looks at Moshe. You're a physical guy. You're an Adam. You're a human being. Physical people to get the Kodesh Kedashim, to get the holiest of the holy thing, to get the Torah Kedosha. We're going to give it to these guys? People that just want to eat and want to marry and want money and want physicality and get pleasure. These are the people we're going to give it to? Come on. Ruchni stuff stays with Ruchni people. Leave it up here in Shemayim. Don't give it to them. They don't need it. They don't deserve it. It's just not fitting for them. But then Hashem says, no. Look at their face. It's the face of Avraham. And then all of a sudden, all bets are off. Quiet. And they back off. Why? What's the face of Abraham supposed to teach them? What are they supposed to be learning from the face of Abraham? What's that message that Hashem's giving them? And then Hashem doesn't just show them his face, but Hashem says, don't you remember? Come on. Don't you remember when you went to his house? He gave you food. Don't you remember? What was Hashem saying? Hashem saying, come on. You remember? You were there. You were there. This happened to you. You showed up at his house. Don't you remember the old man, 99 years old, 3 days after his bris? When Hashem took the Shemesh Min Artika, when Hashem makes it the hottest day in the history of the universe? Yeah, that day. 99 years old, 3 days after his bris. And he's sitting outside of his tent waiting for you. You know why? Because yes, his physical body was saying, oh my goodness, I'm 99. I'm an old man. By the way, I remember when I was in high school. My grandfather, who was quite a character, he wanted to go bungee jumping. And I remember he wanted to go with me. I was the one who was scared. He was the one who wanted to go. And the two of us ended up going bungee jumping together, me and my grandfather. Now, at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my grandfather's going there. My Zeta's going bungee jumping. Is that crazy? Yeah, he was probably like 65 or something. I don't know how old he was, 65, something around that. Can you imagine 99? 3 days after a bris, and he's standing at the entrance of his tent waiting for you, Malachim. Why? Because he had this chukka, this deep down desire. He wanted to host you. He needed guests. He needed it. Yes, his physical body was saying, you're old, you're sick, you just had surgery, you're in pain. His physical body is saying, lie down, relax, get better. But that wasn't okay. Because deep down at his core, in the essence of his being, at the fibers of who he was, his neshama was crying out, I need hachnosas orchim. I want a host. Give me guests. He wanted more. And his neshama battles with his body, so to speak. But it's not even a battle. Because there he is, sitting at the entrance of his tent, and he's hosting. So you know what Hashem says? When here we are, up in Shemayim, we're about to get the Torah. And the angels say, you're going to give it to him? These physical guys, all they want is money, food, and relations, getting married, so on and so forth. These are what these people are about. You're going to give it to them? And Hashem says, whoa. Look. I know what you think. You think that these people are just physical beings that want physical pursuits. And the angels look at them, and the angels do think that. The angels, they call us Adam. Afer min Hadama. You guys are made of dirt. What are you, human beings? So the angels know this. They know we're physical. But Hashem says, look, yes, they're physical beings. But they're not physical beings with physical pursuits. They're physical beings with spiritual pursuits. They want ruchnius. Yes, they're going to constantly struggle. Yes, they're going to. Yes, they want to eat. But they want to eat kosher. Yes, they want to eat. But they want to eat in moderation. Yes, they want to eat. But they want to eat so they can serve Hashem, be an Eved Hashem. Yes, they do want to marry. But they want to be good husbands and good wives. They don't want to be selfish in their relationships. Yes, they want money. But they want to give it away. They want to give tzedakah. That's what they want. Sure, they're physical, but deep down, what makes them happy, what drives them, what they really want is ruchnius. They want spirituality. They want elevation. They want more. They want deeper. They will never settle for mediocrity. Put a human being on the beach his whole life. He thinks he'll be happy, but he's miserable because he needs accomplishment. It's the drive at the essence of every single human being. Adam is afer min Adama because Adama is potential, and so are they. They want to fulfill their potential. So Hashem looks at the Malachim and says, of course, what do you mean? Look at Avraham. Classic example. He's the guy. This is what human beings are about. And how did Avraham do it? How did Avram become the Avraham? How did he become such a person? Because he seeked out Ruchnius. He seeked out Hashem. He had this drive. I need to find monotheism. I need wisdom. That's what Avram wanted. Avram wanted, give me real wisdom. And Hashem says, that's what human beings want. They want the same thing. Yeah. They want to master their marriages. They want to master their parenting. They want wisdom. They want growth. Sure, they're physical, but it's with a spiritual pursuit. Guess what? Do you know who needs the Torah the most? Them. Because if they're physical beings in a physical world, but striving for spirituality, then they need the book. They need the Torah. This is theirs. And this is exactly the role. As here we are, standing just a week away from Shavuos. The night, Maimed Har Sinai, Kabbalah HaTorah. This is the role of the Torah. This is the role. Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavlin. The Almighty says, I created the Yetzer Hara. I created all the temptation. I created all the things that are going to try to bring you down. The benefits of working from home. Right? Hashem says, Hashem says, look. I created them with a Yetzer Hara, with an evil inclination. Yes, they have a deep, deep desire to be selfish, to be impatient, to be angry. Sure, they struggle with addiction, and they struggle in their marriages, and they're in shalom bayis, and they struggle with their kids, and they struggle with all kinds of things. But I put them there for that. And I gave them Torah. Barasi Torah Tavlin. I gave them the Torah as the antidote. The Torah is going to be the thing that's going to guide them. You know, I think the message that we see is Hashem telling them, this is exactly who the Torah is for, because they need real wisdom. And he points out, he reminds them, you remember, you were there. You know why he reminds them? Because I believe it's in the Siva Shalom. I can't remember exactly. But if I remember correctly, it says in the beginning, it says that Shlosha Anashim Omdim Olav, that there were 3 Anashim, 3 men, 3 angels that were standing over Abraham. But then in the end, just a few psukim later, it says, V'hu Omed Alehem, that Abraham was standing over them. And you could read it in its physical sense. They were standing, he was sitting. But I think it's the Nesiv Shalom, maybe it's another one of the Mefarshim, who explained that no. When they came in, they walked in and saying, Shlosha Anashim Omdim Alehem, we are the ones who are over you. We're the angels. Who are you? But at the end, what do we see? They see a guy who's in pain, but totally overcomes his physical drive for something greater. And in the end, who's standing over who? In their eyes, they look up and they go, whoa, this guy's the real deal. Somebody recently called me, unbelievable story. A few days ago, somebody called me. They said, you don't know me, but I was struggling with a depression and all kinds of things. And I found myself one day standing up on a bridge. And I remembered a video that you once made about facing fears. And I decided at that moment, as I thought about the video, as I stood on the bridge and I was contemplating standing on the bridge, I was contemplating why am I living? What's the purpose of my life? And she said that as she was contemplating, she remembered the video about facing fears. And she went on to find help, to get a therapist, to overcome her fear, to have the courage. And she called me up to introduce herself and said, I got to tell you, she says, you're an angel, right? You saved my life. But as we see, that would be actually an insult, right? Not that that was her intention. Because really, we're greater than Malachim. The angels looked at up and they said, whoa, look at this guy. He's up there. We're down here. So Hashem is saying throughout this whole thing, the Torah itself is made for these people. This is who it's for. It's a very interesting thing. We're living now during this COVID-19 in a very DIY segment in history. Everybody's stuck home. I know for myself, suddenly I'm in a situation where before maybe I would call somebody up to help and to fix something, to install something, to repair something, and people weren't coming into the house. So I had to kind of figure out how to do it on my own. Do it yourself, DIY. And it is very much a DIY kind of world. I got to tell you personally, I love to try things myself. Years ago, when I first moved to New York, I didn't want to have cold winters. Going into not cold winters, everybody has cold winters in New York, but I didn't want to have cold car in the winter. So I decided I was going to get a remote car starter. So I started looking into getting a remote car starter. I see it's like $300 to get a remote car starter put in. So I was like, forget about that. I'll do it myself, DIY, right? How hard could it be? Read the manual. Anyway, I get this thing in the mail, this piece. It looked like just a regular black box. I figured if I just put it in the car, it'll start the car up or something. Anyway, all of a sudden I open the package, like Jack in the Box, the wires pop out everywhere. And I ended up spending the next 2 months reading the wiring diagrams of the car. The orange light, the yellow wire, and the red wire, and the white wire, and which wire goes to which one, right? And after like 2 months of studying this wiring diagram, I finally felt I was ready for surgery. And I go in there one day, and my head is underneath, like they call it the kick panel of the car, down by the brake and the gas, and I'm cutting wires, like I do, like all kinds of snipping and giving a whole haircut to all the wires in the car. Finally, when I'm done soldering and attaching everything, I was so nervous. I didn't even want to hit the start button in the car. I put the car in neutral. I rolled it out to the driveway, and then I hit the start button. I can't even describe the feeling, by the way, of when I hit that start button and the car turned on. I was blown away. Thank God, not physically blown away, but just it turned on. I couldn't believe it turned on. And I got to tell you, actually, there's a reason you get things done by professionals, because I did such a poor job that you literally had to be like next to the car to get it to turn on. But I was so determined because I put so much work into it that I would literally go outside like in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning in the winter in the snow, like just like standing next to the car, turning it on just because I had to see it go on because of my own little button there. I was very, very, very determined. Why am I telling you this story? I have no idea. Right. Because DIY, do it yourself. If you want to know how to get a car to start with a button, what do? You read the manual. Read the manual. Anytime we have anything that's complicated, you just read the manual. The book will tell you exactly what to do, how to navigate. Guess what? Life is not made to be DIY. It's not a do-it-yourself life. We do it all the time. Do it yourself, everything. I'll play around with things, electricity, etc. Let me just play around with things. Not to say you should, but we try. And we take that same mindset and we apply it to life. DIY. Let me just go into marriage. Let me get married. Why not? What do you mean? Man, woman, husband, wife, chas and kala. I don't know. Why not? Just try. How hard could it be? We spend all these years going to university, college, whatever, all training courses, things we do to be able to make a parnasa. But for some reason comes marriage and we just, it's okay. I got this. Not a problem. Would you ever hop into a plane or a car without any kind of training, no hours, no preparation, and just let's just see if we can take this thing off? Let's see if we can fly. Never. All of a sudden, we try things like marriage and parenting. I got this one. Not a problem. That's good. Here we go. We're taking off, right? Come on. But we apply the DIY mindset to life. Things in life could do it yourself. That's true. Life itself is not for DIY. You can't just get the wisdom from a manual. You can't get the wisdom from a video. For life, to navigate life, you need to read the real manual, Hashem's manual, the real wisdom, the Torah itself. Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavlin. Hashem said, this is the book. I put you in this world. It's a crazy world. You want to navigate it? You're going to need this. Real wisdom. Real wisdom. We can't apply the DIY mindset to life, to things, but not to the things that are important. Got to seek out wisdom. You know, I heard an amazing story of this platoon that was dropped into Iraq to fight. Dropped in the middle of the summer, 110 degrees in the middle of Iraqi desert. And as soon as they landed, they were all airdropped in. They were suddenly ambushed. People coming from everywhere, shooting right and left. And they were scared for their lives. Everybody starts running. And unfortunately, because of all the bullets flying, the RPGs, everybody was killed. Except for the commander and one soldier. Two of them make a calculation. They use their compass. Where are we? We gotta survive. We gotta get out of this desert. 110 degrees. They make a calculation. It's about a 3-day walk to the nearest US base. So they start hiking, start walking through the desert. After about 2-3 hours, 110 degrees, they're sweating. They take a break. The commander takes out his, not White Rock, his commander takes out his canteen, takes a swig. And the soldier takes out his canteen and takes a swig. But he realizes when he lifts it that there was a bullet hole that had pierced right through and all the water had come out. It was empty. So a soldier turns to the commander. He says, "Commander, with all due respect, can you please share some of your water with me? I unfortunately am out." He says, "No, sir." He says, "Really?" He said, "Nope." Okay. They pack up their stuff and they keep walking. 6 hours, 8 hours. They make another stop. Commander takes out his canteen, takes a swig. Soldier's looking at him. He says, "Come on, with all due respect, Commander, I ask of you to please share some water. I'm dying out here." He says, "Soldier, stand down. You're not getting any water." He couldn't believe it. They keep going. Another day, 2 days go by. Their lips are bleeding just from being parched. They couldn't even sweat anymore. They had no sweat left to them. They're on their hands and knees crawling through the sand dunes of Iraq in the summer. And the soldier looks at him. He says, "Please give me water." Commander says, "Soldier, you're not getting anything." And the soldier says, "I want to tell you something. I'm going to make sure that I survive just so I could get you court-martialed for doing what you're doing." They finally crawling through the desert, and there they are. They could see the nearest base. And when they get close enough, people in the base see them coming. They come running out, paramedics. They take the two of them in. They bring them in. They nurse them back to health. And when the soldier's finally able to speak, he begins to tell the story of what the commander did. And he says, "You got to speak to him. You got to court-martial him. He could have killed me." And the general's called in. The general goes up to the commander. He says, "Commander, I have reports of a terrible act, a terrible crime that you committed against army policy. You should have shared that water." And the commander reaches down for his canteen and he lifts it up and he shows him that his also had a hole in the bottom. So the general said, "I don't get it. Why'd you do that? If you knew you didn't have any water, why didn't you just tell him? Why'd you put him through all that torture?" And the general says, the commander says to the general, he said, "Look, I know when a soldier has the strength to navigate the challenges and the difficulties of life. I know when they have it in them. But sometimes survival tactics alone are not going to get you through it. Sometimes you need more. And I realized in this situation, I needed to use wisdom. I needed a little bit of wisdom. I needed to try something out of the box, something different, something that would get him angry so that it pushes him a little further to navigate the challenges that he was going to face." It's the same thing, lahavdil, with life and Torah. If we think we're going to muscle our way through, we'll figure out the marriage, we'll figure out we're in a challenge, we're in a difficult time, we're just going to push our way through. Survival techniques don't always work. Sometimes we just find ourselves struggling with the same stuff again and again and again. Year after year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, it's always the same stuff, year after again and again and again. We need more. You need wisdom. Barasi Torah Tavlin. Hashem said, this is the antidote. You want it? There's a reason I gave it to you and didn't keep it with the angels. It's yours. Sometimes in life, to navigate the temptations of life, be it impatience or anger, shalom bias or parenting, whatever it may be, we need the wisdom of the Torah. And if we're not finding it, it's because we're not looking hard enough. It's because we don't have the Rebbe, the right Rebbe, or the right Rebbitzin. We don't have somebody to guide us, the right mentor. Maybe we're not learning enough. Maybe it's not the right Seder. But there's something more that we can do to find the wisdom, to seek out the wisdom. You know, it's an amazing thing. Every single Yom Tif, where there's something miraculous, where there was a miracle that took place, every single Yom Tif, there's always a mitzvah to remember that miracle. Example, Hanukkah, right? Miracles of Hanukkah. So we light the menorah. The miracles of Pesach. Pesach, we want to remember everything that happened. So we have matzah, we have the Seder. Sukkot, keep a Sukkot Hashafti. We want to remember what happened, that Hashem protected us in huts in the desert. Great. So we sit in a sukkah. All of a sudden comes this Yom Tif of Shavuos. For those of you out there, Sephardim, Shavuot. Right? Next week. And it was miraculous. We had, you could hear the thunder, you could see the light, you could hear the lightning, you could see the thunder. It was miraculous, no doubt. There were miracles. Kaf Aleim Har Kegigis, mountain was hovering over our head. There were all kinds of miracles. So where's the mitzvah on Shavuos to remember everything that happened? The answer is that when it comes to Shavuos, Kabbalas HaTorah, receiving the Torah, is not something that we need to try to remember because it once happened and it was miraculous. Because Torah is something that we live with every single day. And it's the key to navigating the most difficult, challenging situations in life. It's the wisdom that's been embraced by all of humanity, almost all of humanity. Everybody except for all the Jews. Chas v'sholom. Right? I shouldn't say that. Even the Jews embrace it. Most of us. But it's our key. That's the Torah. It's our key. It's our key for navigating every challenging situation in life. You know, I'm just going to wrap it up with a story. I'll share a story with you. Baruch Hashem, I have the huge bracha, the blessing to be able to live in a community which is very diverse, to be able to have a Shabbos table where thankfully we have many, many, many guests of all different backgrounds. And when you bring people together of different backgrounds, sometimes you got to figure out, okay, well, what are we going to do around the Shabbos table? So what we do every week when we could have guests is that we go around the table and I explain to everybody the concept of Hashgacha Pratis, divine intervention. And then I ask everybody to go around one by one and share a story that you've had, maybe in your life, maybe this week, of Hashgacha Pratis. We call it HP stories. So you can imagine I've heard many, many, many interesting stories. But a few months ago, a woman is at my table. She says, I have many, but I'll share one with you. And I'm going to change the details of the story a bit to protect her identity. So the woman says she, years ago, was married, living in Mexico. And her husband was a very, very, very wealthy man. They lived in a massive, massive, massive estate with guards and the whole thing. And one day, It was her, her husband, and her daughter. One day, police come in and they arrest her husband because apparently he was up to some really illegal behavior. And they put him away in prison. Life in prison. Life in prison. Slowly, over the next few months, they took away everything that she had. They slowly started coming through the house one by one, taking everything out, whatever assets, cars, furniture, you name it, whatever they had, they slowly started emptying out the house. She said the house started falling apart because we had no money for upkeep. We couldn't repair anything. And over months and months and months, the house began to fall apart. She said one day, I'll never forget it. It was a cold, cold, rainy night. And there must have been a leak in the roof because water started to leak down into her bedroom, into the closet of her bedroom. So she goes into the closet, she pulls a chair up. Again, it's just her and the baby in this house. It's a massive mansion. She climbs up on a chair. Not a penny to her name. Keep in mind, this woman, she wanted to escape the country. She couldn't even leave the country. Couldn't even leave. She climbs up, looks on top where the leak is coming from. She wants to start pulling all of her belongings off so they shouldn't get soaked. And as she's pulling down shoe boxes, she sees a key. And as she looks at this key, she sees the key. She says, oh my gosh, I remember this key. When we built the house, we built a safe. And she went down to the basement in this hidden area, took the key, opened the safe, and there was, let's just say, a lot of money in that safe. Enough to help her and her daughter escape Mexico, move to Toronto, to build a new family together, to grow, to learn, to join a shul, to go to shiurim. True story. But I think the amazing lesson in the story that I took away, besides for the fact that, my goodness, she must have had so much money. If you could forget about like hundreds of thousands in the safe, then you have to have a lot to begin with. That's different. Like if I have $20 on the table, I know it's there, okay? Sorry. The lesson I took out was that sometimes in life, the answer to our challenges are right with us. All we have to do is take the key and open the safe. The key's there. For us, it's Torah. Barasi Torah Tavlin. I created the Torah as the antidote. The Almighty said, life is going to be complicated. You're going to be a physical being with, there we go again. You're going to be a physical being with physical desires. You're going to have all kinds of temptations. You're going to have character challenges. You're going to have desires for all kinds of things. You're going to struggle with impatience. You're going to struggle with anger. You're going to struggle with depression. You're going to struggle with mental illness. You're going to struggle with self-esteem. You may struggle in your marriage. You may struggle in your business. You may struggle with your kids. This is starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book. But you'll struggle with a lot of things. And that's why I'm giving you the Torah. Because the Torah is the instruction manual for life. My friends, every single person who's listening to this right now, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're listening from. Every single person who's listening and watching is struggling with something. And that's something that you're struggling with, be it in marriage or parenting or business or personal, bein adam lechaver, bein adam lamakom, between you and people, between you and God, whatever it is. Everyone's struggling with something. And by the way, if there's someone in life that looks like they're not struggling, you know that person that you think, my gosh, they have it so well. Guess what? They're doing a really good job at hiding it. Because everybody has something. And the only time you're done having something is when you die. But until then, Adam la'amal yulad. We're here to struggle. We're here to strive. We're here to thrive. We're here to become bigger, better, and greater. And that happens through challenge. And that's the role of the Torah. Whatever you're dealing with, and it doesn't matter what it is, Hashem created that challenge for you. personally, perfectly. It's your challenge. He created it for you. And he also said, guess what? This is for you too. It might be in Aramaic. Maybe it's in Hebrew. I made a translation for you. But either way, it has the answers to your problems. Seek out the Rebbe. Seek out the Rebbitzin. Seek out the wisdom. Get a new chavrusa. Find a study partner. Find someone to learn with on the phone. Project Inspire has so many wonderful programs. Seek out something, but find the wisdom because your soul wants it. And believe it or not, you'll be surprised to see that it really does offer the answers that you're looking for whatever challenge you're going through. May Hashem bless us all. We should be benched to be able, as we go into Shavuos, we go into Matan Torah, to really see how the Torah that Hashem gave us is the Torah that we need, is the Torah for us. And we should be able to merit, to be able to really step it up between now and Shavuos, even in the next week, to learn a little bit more. So that come Shavuos, we have a greater appreciation. We should be Zocha Mirza Hashem, all of us, to be able to learn more, to grow more, to thrive, and to strive for greatness, every single one of us. We should be Zocha to see the coming of Mashiach. Mehira b'yameinu. Amen. Generally, you walk off stage now, or somebody walks in and says, thank you so much. Rabbi Sytner, that was great. But nobody's doing that. So I'm going to end this myself. Laila Tov, everybody.